Welcome back to the channel. My name is Todd Jewell, and it is once again time for a market update. This time for February 2025. Okay, let's get to those numbers. So, what do the numbers show for February 2025? I've had so many comments on the channel lately where people try to tell me how the market's crashing and all these kind of crazy things. And the thing about this channel is you're going to get data from me. You're going to get honest, real opinions. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I wish pricing would fall because all that would do is help you guys who are looking to buy. One thing I want to make note of, and that is this. If you're someone who compares our month-over-month videos, and great to do that, but what you're going to see is a slight variation in January numbers in this video and the last video. The reason is at the end of this month, for the next week or so, agents and assistants and stuff will be going in and putting in data that happened in the last week of February. So these numbers will change slightly. Never really enough to make any difference at all, but that's why you'll see a slight variation. Just want to point that out. I like to start with days on market. Days on market are how many days from the day the agent hits active, that first day it's active for sale to the public, is this home actively for sale until it goes pending. So in the month of February, that number was 46.5 days. How does that compare? Well, in January, the end of January was 44.7. So month over month, it grew just slightly under 2 days. I also like to look at year over year. Last February, it had dropped all the way down to 24.5. It was going in the wrong direction. If you were in the market last year especially, and you're still in the market, it was horrible to try to buy a home because we have such an inventory shortage here in Knoxville. Well, our days on market have slightly grown. Some of that is not because the market's worse. Some of that is because sellers have yet to realize what their home really may be selling for. And so they continue to push that envelope and the market's not letting them do that. Next, I want to talk to sold to original list price. What is sold to original list price? If I list my home today for $500,000 and it ends up selling for $475,000, what percent of the original list price did it actually close for? That number hasn't moved any. In January, it was 96.1, and in February, it is 96.1%. So what we're seeing is home sale for really close to 4% of the original list price. Last February, it set 97.5. So it's loosened up just a little bit, maybe a percent or so. The next thing I like to do is look at active listings. So what are active listings? I'm going to tell you, if you're watching this video, you need to stick around to the end because we're going to talk about price, but then we're going to talk about something that's very important to these numbers, and that is what went on here in Knoxville in the month of February. So make sure to stick around to the end. By the way, if you haven't already subscribed, do so below. We love subscribers, thumbs up, or comments. Active listings are this. How many listings at the end of the month did we have on the market actively for sale that you could buy in Knox County? Remember, these are single-family homes in Knox County. So that number was 1,240 listed homes actively for sale to begin the month. Where was it at the end of January? It was 1,259. Active listings dropped by 19 listings. Last January, it was 987, and it dropped to 892. So it's seasonal. There's a seasonality to the real estate market, and we're used to that here in February. So in February, we have usually saw active listings drop. Now let's jump into new listings. What does that mean? New listings are how many homes were actually listed for sale new during the month of February. That number was 633 new homes were listed during February in Knox County. What about January of this same year, 25? It was 639. It's basically exactly the same. How does that compare to last year? Well, last year in February, we had 667. So literally we had about 34 less listings this February than last, but that's such a small amount that basically it was the same. Next is sold listings. If you watch any of our other videos, we have not talked about sold listings. This is a category that I haven't included until now, but I want to get this in the mix going forward. Sold listings are just how many homes sold. Not went under contract, not went pending. How many homes sold in the month of February? That was 363 homes this year, 426 in January of this year. Last year in February was 483, so we had less homes sold during this month. Our weather in the month of February, we actually had a snow or two, which is unusual. It kept people in. We had less listings because of that. I mean, if you don't have to list your home and you're planning on doing it in February, right? Or if you're out looking for a home and you can buy a home anytime this spring, buyer traffic goes down. All those things are very specific to this area, but they affect the data, okay, in the real world. It's really important you guys know that it is the number one reason you need to be working with a real estate professional. Not look at this data, not someone that's just giving you overall data, okay? Now let's look at sold price. The median sold price. Now, this is important, median sold price, not average. Average has the ability for a few sales to mess up too much. Median sold price is what we use, and it's what you should use to kind of gauge a market. And what that means is 50% of the homes sold above this number and 50% of the homes sold below this number in the month of February. And in February, that number was back above 400 to 407. If we compare that to last month, it was 391,250. That's a 4% increase month over month. But if we compare it to last February, that number was 381,900. So that is a 7.54% increase, actually year over year to be exact. So that's some of the data. Now, what does some of this mean? Here's what it means. It means that the market in Knoxville is still very solid. It also means that you have to look deeper into these numbers, and that's where we come in. We would have to make a dozen videos every month just to break these numbers down based on certain neighborhoods within Knox County. These numbers are very different in Farragut than they are in Halls. Those numbers in Halls are different than they are in Hardin Valley and over in South Knox or over in East. It really depends on the neighborhood as to how this works. I'm looking at the entire county. Here's what I can tell you, it's healthy. When you look at all of this, there's one number that is very, very important that I always look at, and that is absorption rate. If you notice, I normally bring that up early in the process. This time I brought it up late because absorption rate tells you a lot about where a market is. So our absorption rate, what that means is if we have no more homes hit the market today, how long is it basically going to take to sell out what inventory is there? So if we had 1,240 active listings, how long is it going to take to sell them? Based on the current absorption rate right now, it would take 2.01 months. In January, last month, exactly the same number, 2.04. Not exact, but very close, right? So basically 2 months. That's well below where I would like to see it. If I'm working with a buyer, it would be great to have about 4 months inventory. Why is that? Because if you're listing a home, it's also nice because if you want to move locally, you know that you can list your home. If you get a buyer, then you can go out and find a home and there'll be ample inventory to make the market more normal. We're still in an inventory shortage here in Knox County. It has continued to be that way, and it is going to continue to be that way throughout the rest of this year. Now, the thing that could really mess this up is that if we see rates significantly drop, and there are many of you out there who are looking to buy homes and say, boy, I hope rates drop. Listen to me, you do not. Here's why. If you do, the appreciation rates are going to go through the roof because you're going to have a lot of buyers jump in and fight over homes, which will push pricing up in a low inventory area like we're in. What you would prefer to happen, even though you may not agree with me right now, is to find the home, buy it at today's rates. After you've done that in a year, rates drop and you're able to refi it. And then you've got the home and the best rate, and you were able to do that at the best possible price, right? If you have not reached out to us and you are considering moving to Knoxville or East Tennessee anytime in the next 12 to 24 months, reach out to us on Zoom, get the process started. I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, guys, I absolutely cannot wait to see you around Knoxville soon.